Think about a normal day in your week. You wake up with the intention of doing something that matters. Maybe a project, a difficult decision, a conversation you've been putting off, something that requires you to be completely present. And then the day begins. A message, an email that needs a quick reply, a notification, a small task that comes up in the middle, another message. By 6 in the evening, you look at what you've done, and that thing that actually mattered is still untouched. Most people call this a lack of discipline or poor prioritization, but what the research shows is different, and it's more serious than it looks. In this video, we're going to look at 3 specific ways distraction doesn't just interrupt your day. It literally takes years away from what you could have built. I'm not talking about productivity in the sense of getting more things done. I'm talking about the long-term cost to your cognitive potential, your relationships, and the gap between who you are and who you could be, and why this is harder to fix than it looks. If you're interested in applied psychology and in understanding how the mind actually works under pressure, this channel gets straight to the point. No cheap motivation. Subscribe if you want to keep this conversation going. Gloria Mark, a researcher at the University of California, Irvine, spent years measuring how real workers actually use their time. What she found was unsettling. On average, it takes a person 23 minutes to return to the level of focus they had before being interrupted. 23 minutes per interruption. Now do the math. If you're interrupted, or if you interrupt yourself 10 times a day, you didn't lose 10 minutes. You potentially lost more than 3 hours of real cognitive capacity. And most people who work with technology are interrupted far more than that. But here's the part most people miss. The majority of interruptions don't come from outside. They come from within. Gloria Mark's research also shows that in environments with internet access, people interrupt themselves approximately every 3.5 minutes, even when there are no external notifications. When the brain starts to feel the tension of a difficult task, it looks for relief. Any relief. An email to check, a message to answer, a new tab to open. This is an emotional regulation mechanism, not a time management problem. And the cost of this pattern, compounded over weeks, months, years, isn't just a feeling of being unproductive. It's something more concrete. You never reach the level of deep work where the most important things in your life actually get done. The natural question that follows is, why does the brain do this? If it's counterproductive, why does it persist? In 2009, psychologist Sophie Leroy at the University of Minnesota published research that changed how we understand multitasking. She called the phenomenon attention residue. The idea is this: when you switch from one task to another, part of your attention remains stuck on the previous task. Not metaphorically, neurologically, your brain is still processing, checking, monitoring what was left behind, and the more incomplete the task you left, the larger the residue. What this means in practice: when you arrive at something important after a morning full of interruptions, you're never fully there. You're present with whatever is left after distributing your attention across everything that came before. It's not willpower that's missing. It's that the cognitive system is literally busy with other things. This is where the cost stops being daily and becomes existential. Cal Newport, in his work on deep work, argues that the capacity for sustained concentration is increasingly rare and increasingly valuable, not because people are lazy, but because the environment was designed to fragment attention. The problem isn't a bad day of productivity. The problem is what you never build over years because you never reached the level of thinking where the most important things actually require you to be. The hardest decisions, the projects that change a career, the conversations that build or break a relationship, all of it demands a kind of presence that a fragmented brain rarely sustains. If you want to go deeper on this, how to map where your attention is being fragmented, and how to build a real focus system, we put together a complete guide on exactly that. The link is in the description and the first pinned comment. Let's keep going. Johan Hari, in Stolen Focus, documents how digital platforms were built specifically to capture and hold attention, not to respect it. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's the business model. More captured attention equals more data, more ads, more revenue. What this means for you isn't that you should abandon technology. It means the default environment, the environment without deliberate intervention, is calibrated to fragment your attention, not protect it. And an environment that chronically fragments attention produces a brain that has lost the ability to sustain focus on its own. Mark's research shows that over time, the intervals between self-interruptions get shorter. The brain seeks stimulation faster and faster. This isn't a character problem, it's a calibration problem of the environment and the system. The obvious answer to all of this is turn off notifications, block distractions, build a focus routine, and those things help, but they don't come close to solving the problem for a reason the research makes clear. The problem isn't the notification, it's the accumulated residue of years of fragmentation. A brain that has spent years operating in reactive mode doesn't recover deep focus capacity in a week of new habits. Sophie Leroy and her colleagues document that even after deliberate focus interventions, intentional, distraction-free periods, attention residue persists longer than people expect. The cognitive system needs time to recalibrate. This isn't a reason not to start. It's a reason to have realistic expectations about how long it takes, and to understand that consistency matters more than the intensity of any single day. What changes isn't how hard you push on a given day. It's the pattern you build over time. 3 shifts the research supports, realistic about the effort required. First, map where your attention actually goes. Not what you think you do, what you actually do. An honest log of a full day is more revealing than any theoretical analysis. Second, protect uninterrupted blocks of time before you check anything. Not because mornings are magic, but because it's when the attention residue from the night before has already diminished and the afternoons hasn't started yet. Even 60 to 90 minutes makes a measurable difference. Third, understand that environment precedes behavior. Before relying on willpower, remove the stimulus. Phone in another room, notifications off, tabs closed. The brain follows the environment. Use that in your favor. None of this is new information. What changes when you understand the mechanism behind it is that you stop treating every relapse as a character failure and start treating it as information about your environment. Back to where we started, that day when you had every intention of doing something that mattered and couldn't. That wasn't a lack of discipline. That was a cognitive system operating exactly as it was calibrated to operate in an environment designed to fragment attention. What the research shows, and what takes time to internalize, is that attention isn't infinite and it isn't guaranteed. It's a resource that depletes, that carries residue, and that recalibrates slowly. And the years that distraction steals aren't the minutes lost to notifications. They're the projects that never reached the depth where real work happens. The conversations that never reached the presence where real relationships are built. The ideas that never had enough uninterrupted time to fully form. The question isn't whether you'll be distracted, it's whether your system is set up to minimize the cost when it happens. If you want to go beyond the theory, the complete guide in the description maps a practical system for identifying where your attention is being fragmented and how to rebuild focus capacity in a sustainable way. It's a starting point, not a magic formula. The next video on this channel explores why intelligent people systematically underperform and what the research says about the mechanism behind it. If that resonates, it's right here. Thanks for making it to the end.